Parents, you know that 90% of students waste hours on studying tasks that don't actually improve their results? So here's the strategic shift they need to make to turn random practice sessions into pinpointed results. So for those of you who don't know me yet, my name's Andrew Malcolm. In year 11, I failed math, and then in year 12, I topped New South Wales. Ever since then, I founded a tuition company called ACM Tuition, where we've helped hundreds of students score a band 6 in the HSC so that they can get into their dream university degree. In every single video I post, I give you guys one actionable tip to help your teen score a band 6 in the HSC standard mathematics. So look, here's the truth. Your teen can't fix what they can't measure. And so most study plans aren't really study plans. They're just a list of habits. For example, rereading, highlighting, or rewriting, or I'm just gonna do some practice. So these feel productive, but they don't actually address the real issue, which is knowledge gaps. And so without a system to track their weaknesses and match them to real exam questions, students just keep guessing. Right? For example, I get this all the time. I get a new student and I ask them, what are you gonna do to study? Right? And they say, oh, I'm going to revise trigonometry. Okay, how are you gonna revise trigonometry? I'm going to do some practice on it. Right? What does that look like? And they just don't know what the actual steps are to actually revise and get good results. So here's my strategy. First thing is, right, we need to track everything through a question bank, right? And these are a list of HSC questions split into topics that your team can use to really master questions, right? For example, in my HSC, I would go through, if I had a test on trigonometry, I would go through all the HSC questions that have ever come up for trigonometry and get that out the way, right? And so after we get that question bank and we can track everything, what we want to do is we want to do all the questions in here, right? So a lot of students think, oh, I can just do the easy questions. I can just do the multiple choice. That'll be enough for my exam, right? That's enough to fail, right? Do all the questions you can, right? Even the ones that seem easy. Some students just want to skip ahead to the hard questions. If you don't do the easy questions, you won't catch what you're going to make those silly mistakes. And so they're just going to show up again in the exam. So that's why you got to do all the questions. And the last one is review the past paper checklist, right? What is the past paper checklist, right? This is a thing that people need to I get my students to go over to review, right? A lot of students think reviewing is literally just marking and then seeing their score. That's not reviewing. Reviewing, after the review process, it should be impossible for them to get a question wrong. I'll say it again. After the review session, or after they're reviewing the practice paper, it must be impossible for them to get a question wrong. That's the standard they need to set for that, right? But those are the three things they need to do, right? And if you want, you can comment plan below and I'll send you the HSC question bank, the tracker we use, and also the checklist we use to double students' results. So let me know if you need anything.